Hey, Gabriel Blake.
Hey, Gabriel, Jose.
Where are we today?
We're at our homes for like
As
the
always.
3.5 months. Yeah, we're exactly at the 3.5 month mark.
The funny thing is that when you think about like 3.5 months, usually you don't feel like it's your whole life. But right now, it's like I feel like it has been forever. It's like I was born this way. It's like my mother just dropped me in this living room like some years ago, and I just grew up here by myself. I don't
And
remember what
now,
human
like,
contact is.
nobody else exists. It's
No,
weird.
no. They are just a Zoom conversation. That's the only thing.
I
Today, I'm going to be just mentioning something. I forgot to mention this to you when we were just talking before recording. But today I was in a meeting, and one of the guys actually had a green wall on the background. Is that he actually had painted way before this happened a wall green.
uh-huh.
So we were in a Zoom conversation, and he had a video of a disco ball going on there. And people were like just flipping out about like how come is that happening? Because I can see like real stuff going on there. There is no like artifacts for your shadow or anything. What is going on? And when he disabled, he's like, I was just like, so were you foreshadowing that there was going to be a global pandemic and everything was going to go through a Zoom conversation? So it's such a bizarre situation that we have right now that is like I no longer know how to react to anything.
And they delayed phase 2 of San Francisco's reopening. There was like a
Hmm.
silver lining visible in the distance, and then they just ripped
Yep.
it away.
Yep. Yep. Is that they get it so far away right now. It's not going to be half August. I'm sorry, man.
I miss Troy,
I know
the
you do.
the
I
best
know.
bartender at the Eagle.
Well, I will try to help you stocking him up. We can use
Yeah.
we can use the podcast as a way to reach him out. If
If
you
any of
know
our
Troy,
5 listeners know Troy from the Eagle, I'm looking for his last name.
well, no, you're looking for a way of getting in contact with him, not the last name,
That's
because
true. Yeah, if you
the
could
last
just give me
name
a
may not
phone
be enough.
number, great.
Sadly. All right. So, what did we watch this week?
A good movie. A good movie that was my pick.
Okay. Okay. What
We
is the name of the good movie and why did you pick it?
we watched the 1993 Robert Altman film Shortcuts, 2 words, um, with like the biggest cast of any movie ever.
Yep.
And the reason that I picked it was because up until I brought this movie up with you, I considered myself a Robert Altman film until I realized, looking at his IMDb page, that I've only seen 2 of his movies. So I'm not sure how much of a Robert Altman film I am, but this is also the film that Magnolia is loosely based on. And
Let's see.
Julianne Moore was in both of them. So
Yep.
this was like a
Yep.
slam dunk
Yeah.
of a
In
pick.
one of them says suck my dick. In the other ones, it shows that Sisa doesn't have a dick.
I love that her shirt was cut in the perfect way to
Mm-hmm.
like, huh? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so why don't you try and summarize this film?
There is no way of summarizing this, but this is like one of these multiple movies that you can see about like cross lives. So it's basically it reminded me just connecting back to little kids, no
Little
children,
children.
little children, from the perspective that it's like a fable about like multiple suburban lives and how they connect with each other. But at the same time, when you analyze each one of the stories, I had a feeling that they connect with the title of the movie. There is like people trying to find shortcuts to their happiness or to just feeling better with themselves. So, as you were saying, is that the cast is insane. Is that this basically summarize all the talent from the 90s is there.
Yep.
When you can think, is that Robert Downey Jr. as extremely young actor? Is there Tim Robbins that I love? Jack Lemmon as a very old character?
Lily
Lily
Tomlin.
Tomlin, yep. Julianne Moore. Who else was there?
It just
Jennifer
goes on
Jersey.
and
Yeah,
on.
it's just insane. All the people that you see there is like, oh, I know this person, and they do all of them. They do like a really, really good job. It
A
feels
very
like,
young Francis McDormand, Tom Waits, the
yep,
musician that Heath
yep,
Ledger's The Joker was based on. It's just, and these are principal characters. These are
yep.
not like extras or side plots.
Yeah, I mean the thing is like there is not a main cast. There is no like, for example, this. If I was like a Academy Award jury watching this, I couldn't nominate anyone because there is not a single actor that you could say like, oh yeah, this actually is a bit more important than anything else. Is that all of them? Maybe Andy McDowell and who plays his husband? I don't remember.
That character actor that was like in everything in the 90s.
Bruce Davison was it?
Hold on, I have it up.
Yeah, Bruce Davison. Bruce Davison is the husband. Is that those two? They have like probably the most consistent story from the beginning to the end. But it's not. It's not consistent. It's a bit more like it's the most tragic story.
Yeah, it's the one that resonated emotionally with me the most.
Yeah.
I mean, the movie's 30 years old, so spoilers are going to happen.
Yeah.
But when they go to the baker to yell at him for being such a jerk after their young child was hit by a car and killed, that
Yeah.
made me very sad.
Yeah. I mean, I understand. I mean, the funny thing is like at the beginning, I was feeling is like, okay, so the baker starts drinking because someone didn't pick up the cake. I felt like, look, this is pretty cheap. It's said, this is pretty dumb. But is that that actually connects when they go to face him, is that they never look for justice. They never try to find Lily Tomlin as the one that I actually hit the kid with her, with the car. They actually go to the baker as a way of like, we want to scream at someone. We want to just advance in this grief process that we're doing. Is like, we just need a victim. We need someone to scream at. That's the only thing. I think that is the point that I felt like, okay, this was pretty stupid at the beginning, but is that now I see the point, and the point it actually connects with what is the message of this movie. That sometimes we try to find the easy way out of our problems for just feeling better with ourselves.
Yeah, I watched the movie and then my husband came home and he asked, "Did you like the movie?" And I said, "Yeah, absolutely. It was incredible." And then he's like, "What is it about?" And I was like, "Nope, can't tell you that." And he,
No.
and he said, "Well, then tell me why you liked it." And I couldn't because like all of the characters are very ordinary characters. There's nothing remarkable about any of them. There's nothing remarkable about what happens to them. It's
Yep.
just watching people interact with other people, and somehow Robert Altman elevated that to be some sort of commentary on LA, but also on friendship and family and loss. And
I
it's
just
just,
feel
go ahead.
sorry. So I was going to say that it just feels exactly the same thing as with Little Children. Is that this is a suburban life commentary? There is nothing special here. There is nothing out of the ordinary. As like you're saying, is like they're like just going through their daily lives, and there is like small events. Like for example, the case with Julian Moore husband, that it was Matthew Modine when they start like just discussing about like you cheated. Is that okay? That's the highlight of the relationship. It is like the pinnacle, not the pinnacle, but it's a milestone of the relationship. Like whatever happens with the relationship, it's like we don't know what it's going to be, but it's like we are like just like voyeurs into their lives at this specific time, and that part is amazing. It's important for them, but it's like it's nothing too special. It's something that it can happen on any relationship.
And it's not even sensationalistic as if Julianne Moore cheated during the time frame the film covers. This is
Yeah.
a conversation about some ambiguous night that happened 3 years previously that had just been festering under the skin of the husband, and they just decided to
Yeah.
address. Like it's really a remarkable film, and somehow it's more than the sum of its parts. It's just
Yeah.
I was blown away. It did not feel like 3 hours and 7 minutes. And even I can say that Magnolia definitely feels like 3 hours and 1 minute.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want about Magnolia. I'm not going to watch it again. And I'm vetoing you right now. I'm not going to watch Magnolia again. I'm sorry, man.
I will never ask you to watch Magnolia again.
Yeah. I was surprised, it's like I think that is I was like 2 hours first and then the other hour because it was like extremely late and I had to go to bed. And the 2 hours just flew by. I didn't
Yeah,
realize about it
I
because
couldn't
that
believe how
is
quickly it was over.
it's like this kind of masterwork about like how those scenes are so well self-contained. About like, okay, they don't give you like the full picture of everything, but they just give you something that is that I want to know more about them, but I don't feel peace that you're moving to another scene, to another family. It's like I'm fine because it's like everything is so good that it's like I'm fine with going to one more and just
Yep.
hearing about like, oh, what is happening with Francis McDormand? Is that, oh, is his husband like just destroying the house with a chainsaw? Sure, I will roll with it.
It was so entertaining to watch that happen.
Yeah, the only character that I feel like really peace is that all the characters are like just gray areas, are a bit more like, okay, Julianne Moore cheat on her husband for whatever reason. Is like, sure, whatever. Lily
It wasn't.
Tomlin,
I just want to call out. It wasn't an affair. She got really drunk at a party and had sex with somebody. So
exactly. It was not about like just a recurring thing. It was a bit more like we got drunk, we talked, and this happened. But the case, for example, with Lily Tomlin hitting the kid with a car that you can see it coming with the car when the kid is just running around, like just going for the car, like sure, that's going to happen. But you don't blame her. Is that she actually tries to say, hey, where do you live? I want to just have a no, leave me alone. Is that okay? Well, probably she shouldn't be stalking a little kid, Probably she should report it. She didn't do it, but sure, you don't hate her. It's like everything feels relatable. The only character that doesn't feel relatable, that is that I just want to punch on his face, is Jack Lemon's character.
yeah, what the hell was that about? It's the only thing that didn't fit.
Well, no, I don't think that it didn't fit because he actually tries to find a shortcut. That he still feels guilty about screwing up his marriage. And
Yeah,
he's like, "Oh, I know where my kid is, so I'm going to go like go to the hospital." He doesn't care about his grandchildren at all,
no.
at all. He cares about his son forgiving him for not being there because he cheated on his wife. So it's another
Yeah, that's true.
shortcut. So that from that perspective, I think I would love to actually read the original piece or the original like collection of short stories because I think that all of them they are like perfect examples about like what the movie is about.
Yeah, so this is actually a brief excerpt from the New York Times movie review because I also got curious about the source material, and it says Shortcuts was inspired by the voice and some of the characters in the short stories of Raymond Carver. Yet it's in no way a conventional adaptation. So I'd be curious to see the relationship and obviously whatever Robert Altman saw in these characters that he wanted to put up on the big screen.
Yeah. So I think that the idea of actually connecting all of the stories is a bit gimmicky. I don't think that is the lead motif of the movie per se. I think that is just a narrative resource that he uses. But it's not where this movie actually draws his strength.
Did you see Nashville?
No. The TV show?
No, the movie that he did that was a huge success, which was basically the same thing, the same sort of interweaving of characters, and they all kind of come together for a final event.
Gotcha. No. Oh, Geraldine Chaplin is there. Huh.
I hated that movie. I hated it. This
Sorry.
one worked. This film felt more sure-footed and more interesting than Nashville ever did. Nashville felt like the greatest show on earth of Robert Altman film.
All right. So there is, as I was saying, is like I have the feeling that it's like all the characters that they're on the screen, they're trying to find a shortcut towards their happiness or towards like feeling better with themselves. The only characters that I felt that they're like, why are they here? Is the black couple that they actually just go on a trip, so they never get developed. They never get like more than a single scene or two scenes.
I really thought they were going to come back at some point.
Yeah, but no, they didn't. It's like I don't know if they actually cut it back or something, but it's like they just disappear and they just leave Robert Downey Jr. and Robert Downey Jr. as the only straight makeup artist in LA, and the daughter
Very
of
strange.
yeah, but sure, and the daughter of how's it called, Lily Tomlin,
In real
and
life, that's Lily Tomlin's daughter.
no, I don't think so. But it was like
Oh,
the
okay.
casting was really good. But
Yeah.
like, okay, that looks pretty similar. But that story, the one of Robert Downey Jr. and the daughter, I felt like it didn't really fit into the theme of just trying to take shortcuts to be happier.
Specifically, Robert Downey Jr.'s storyline.
Yeah, because Robert Downey Jr., the only shortcut that he takes is that he actually makes up these stories about like, oh yeah, I'm having sex with blah 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 blah. Is that part I felt like, look, this is just bad. It's not really
So
a shortcut.
the only thing that I saw is that he didn't have the life that the black couple did, and he just wanted to move into their apartment, live there while
Yeah,
they were gone, take their things, and then also he was trying to basically fuck anything that paid attention to him. And like that final scene,
with the
not the
rock.
not yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know. It's
I
an
mean
interesting
that's
point.
I could say that is that that's the only story that I felt like a bit short, a bit more like okay. And now the guy, I like the guy, for example, the guy that is married to the girl that has the porn line. I like that story. It's like I don't know too
Jennifer
much.
Jason Lee.
Yeah, Jennifer Jason Leigh. So Jennifer Jason Leigh and Chris Penn. That I don't know if he's related to Sean Penn or not. I like that guy. I find him really hot on that movie. But how he feels emasculated, I feel
By
like
her.
okay, it's an interesting way, and he ends up like exploding. About like okay, I'm going to be like this woman is like just saying no, like fuck you, and just trying to kill her is what killing her is
Yep.
okay. That was okay, but when I compare it with the Robert Downey Jr. story and her wife, I felt like that part of the story, I felt like this is feeling a bit flatter than everything else.
The murder.
Not the
Or no,
murder.
Robert
No,
Downey
Robert
Jr.
Downey Jr.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I felt like, sure, whatever. For example, like the story of the dead body on the river, I love that one.
I did too.
I felt like repulse about like when they're like just fishing around the dead body. Is I felt like, oh
I
no.
was horrified. I was like, these people are morally dead.
Hmm.
Fun fact about Jennifer Jason Leigh, though, she, in preparation for the role, attended a real phone, or she went to a real phone sex line center,
Yeah.
and every line that she spoke while she was on the phone doing sex is actual conversations that she was listening to.
Oh, man. No, that's
Just
pretty good. She does a really good job. I mean, I love all the cast. I think that is amazingly cast, is that there is no any kind of miscast or anything about like, what is this guy doing here? Even Jack Lemmon, that he used to be a bit more of a comedy actor, I think that is like perfectly cast here.
yeah, I do too. I couldn't think of Robert Downey Jr.'s wife as anybody but her role in 6 Feet Under, so I was blown away at how good her performance was because she was a completely different person than who she plays in 6 Feet Under, which is how I know her.
What is the role that she plays in Six Feet Under?
Nate's wife that gets murdered by her brother-in-law.
Oh, no way. What is the name of the actress?
I don't have that IMDb page up.
Oh yeah, no worries, no worries. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize. So the daughter of crap.
And why can't I think of her name? Also, I didn't recognize Jennifer Jason Leigh for like the first hour, and then I was like, "Wait, is that her?"
Yeah, I mean, I was just checking like the cast the whole time about like, wow, everyone is familiar. Everyone feels like I watch movies with these people.
Yeah, like you said, it's literally like a who's who of decent acting in the early '90s.
Yeah, yeah, no, definitely. It's pretty amazing. It's pretty amazing, like all the cast. I mean, even Andy McDowell, that I always like take her for this kind of very untranscendental actress, is like how she progresses toward like just being completely devastated. It's believable. It's like something that okay, I get it. It's true that it's like you still like put a bit of comedy into this, but it's believable.
Lily Taylor is the actress.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and there's some really, really funny parts. I was surprised when I saw the film described as a comedy drama, but it's completely accurate. It's very funny and very sad sometimes.
I mean, there are stories that are like significantly sadder than others. You know, is the part about like then like losing the kid is like sure, it's extremely sad.
Yeah, the
It's
saddest part for me was, well, when they go meet the baker, but also watching that pathetic Jack Lemmon dad try and do whatever he was doing with the son that he hadn't seen
yeah,
in years and years and years. I was like, this is just making me uncomfortable with how.
yeah, and the son putting up with it about like oh we didn't talk in 30 years, but yeah, let's talk about like how you felt guilty 15 years ago.
For cheating on my mother with my aunt.
Yeah,
Yep.
it was honestly there were like parts that they were like just hard to watch. For example, like comedy is like when the helicopter pilot is like just using the chainsaw and the carpet cleaner comes around. There is like, well, I've seen everything. I'm not going to judge. So is the guy?
I love
Sorry.
that his name was Stormy Weathers, and I couldn't help but think of Stormy Daniels every time they said his name.
So is the guy that Francis McDormand was with in the car? You know, when they come back from the weekend with Bunny, that I love when the kid is like, "Thank you, Gene."
Wally,
He's like, "No, this is Wally. It's Wally. This one is Wally." uh, but that character only shows up there. It's not someone else.
Yeah, I think he was just representative. Okay, she was cheating. She wasn't going to see
Yeah.
a sister.
Yeah. I mean, I like Francis McDormand character about like, look, you know, she's recently single. She's just going to be like fucking whatever is in front of her.
I felt so bad for that kid. So bad for that kid.
Yeah.
What did you think of Tim Robbins' character?
I was going to be asking you that because it's like the problem, that's probably like the only part of the story that I felt like this is weird, you know? I love the part when the wife starts laughing
Like
about
manically?
manically about like, look, I know that this is an excuse that you are making. You are fucking someone, and you are like just making the most absurd excuse for just getting away with it. It's like I love how like just start like just laughing, and then Jesse tells the same thing to Julian Moore. It's like, look, at this point, I just do it for the entertainment value. It's like I know that he's going to be like cheating on me, so. But at the same time, it's like if you know that he's going to be like cheating on you, and you don't like that, it's like why would you stay with him?
Yeah, it was very weird that she was basically okay with him cheating, and she knew that at some point he would get dumped by his girlfriend and come home and love her. And I was like, oh, well, maybe that's what she wants, or maybe that's just enough for her, or it's enough for her to stay for her kids.
Yeah, and I don't get the part about like Tim Robbins actually keeps hitting on every single female character that he crosses paths with, every
Yeah,
single one.
all of
Because
them.
he also hit in the crowd. Sorry, he hits on a Claire character.
Uh-huh.
So like he's pretty clear that she's I won't say like a sex addict, but like
A
he's pretty
womanizer.
clear a womanizer. It's like he is not happy with the marriage that he has. He hates having kids that they're screaming all the time, and he hates having the dog. So from that perspective, he's not going to be like changing at all. So why he becomes content in the marriage?
I think she just describes their marriage as a pattern of him philandering, and then at some point he comes back home, and they're going to go through that cycle over and over.
Oh,
Also, when he pulls over Claire and she's in full clown makeup, and he asks her, ma'am, how many cars or how many clowns can you fit in this car? I was laughing so hard at that scene. It was so ridiculous and perfect.
I mean, I just felt that it was ridiculous at the point about like, what are you trying to do out of this? Like the police would never say this. That Tim Robbins as a policeman, it just felt weird to me.
I would believe the LA police would act like that in the early 90s for sure.
Mm. I mean, as we were talking earlier, is that maybe as I didn't grow up here, I cannot relate to that. So there's some of the behavior that he has is like, sure, just do whatever you want.
There's no rules in LA in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And then what did you think of the act of God at the end?
I felt like it was significantly better than the act of God from Magnolia.
Oh, the raining frogs.
Yeah, the raining frogs. Because it's like at that point, it's like, okay, we have seen like many movies that they have like interconnected stories, but only Magnolia and these have this kind of far-fetched final act, like final event. Because you can think about, what was I going to say? I was going to say something crash. Crash, there is a crash, But it's like
because
on
that
this.
movie is subtle.
Yeah, but these movies, okay, they have like something that is a bit far-fetched, but at least on this one, it's far-fetched, but it's something that as we live in California, we have heard infinite times that the big one is coming. So the idea of Lily Tomlin, and her husband about like, oh, the big one, let's just die together, or everyone else like just like, okay, we're going to die here. Is that this is really the big one? Is like, haven't you ever had a feeling living in California about like an earthquake that lasts like more than a couple of seconds? Like, oh, this may be the first. This may be the first, the real one.
Have you ever experienced an earthquake here that lasted more than a couple seconds?
Yeah.
When?
There was one a couple of months ago. And it's like on that one, it was in the sofa, it was like just moving. And I started like just after a couple of seconds, okay, it's like now I'm going to be like heading out.
Interesting. But
There are
yeah,
not
I
so
mean, that
many.
felt super realistic. And LA has more earthquakes than San Francisco.
Yeah. Yeah, they're closest to the fault. But yeah, I feel like it's okay, you're going to be like choosing I don't know, like a very bombastic ending. This is one that I can buy. This is one that I can say like, this is okay.
I actually enjoyed, not that they spent a lot of time on this, but watching how the different characters responded to the earthquake. It was just like perfect. Like, yeah, these are how alive these characters are.
Yeah.
I just felt like their reactions were so like, yeah, that makes sense for that character. Yeah. I get it.
I mean, I love especially for Lily Tomlin character that is like, look, you guys are getting drunk in a RV camp. Is that you can just walk 3 feet away. There's not going to be any building falling on top of you. Why do you want to stay on your RV? It's like, that makes no sense to me. But it's like the case of Julianne Moore character and all the friends that they're around. It's like, sure, yeah, that makes sense. They're like this kind of wealthy family. So
right.
Yeah.
And their reaction is like, let's go inside and watch the news. There was probably damage.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, the only thing is like exactly how Chris Penn, how they waited until the last second for just having that emancipation moment about like just exploding and just killing the woman. At that point, I felt like, why? Okay, someone needed to connect to the event that is happening, but at the same time, it's like it just waters down a bit the bombastic ending per se.
So, based on this film, how interested are you on a scale of 1 to 10 in watching more Robert Altman films?
I would say 7.
All right.
I mean, I feel just curious, like I don't think, because the thing is that this is an interconnected story. And I want to think that he's not going to be like doing that all the time, that he's not going to be like Alejandro González Iñárritu, that is like, oh, I can do interconnected stories, so I'm going to keep doing that for my whole career.
So I thought I had seen more Robert Altman films than I have, but that's definitely what Gosford Park is. It's what Shortcuts is. It's definitely Nashville. And then his big film actually came out the year before that, and it was The Player. Have you seen The Player?
No.
You have?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. So after this film, loving it as much as I did, and I loved it. I loved this movie. I wanted to watch The Player for the first time, and then I wanted to watch Gosford Park again. I remember almost nothing about it besides that I loved it when I saw it for the first time, which was like 2003, 2004.
Yeah, I'll be down for watching them if you haven't watched them yet.
So again, I have not seen The Player, and I haven't seen Gosford Park in almost 20 years.
Oh, no, that's fine. I'll be watching. I will be like completely down to watch it. So, should we score this, or do we have anything else to talk about it?
This film is so hard to talk about. I mean, it's just so hard to describe. I just loved it, but I don't know that I have more to say about it.
Yeah. No, I mean, the thing is, I agree with you that this is more than the sum of its parts, because when you analyze each one of the stories, it's like all of them, they feel like shorts. They feel like you could have told the story in 10 minutes or 15 minutes, and the interconnection between the different stories is not that strong. It's a bit more like thematically, they connect with each other, but
Yeah,
otherwise,
that's
there's
true.
nothing else. So
Yeah, and I could
that's,
see how if that didn't impress you, it could be conceived as a gimmick, kind of like Magnolia, right? Magnolia made it a gimmick, but this is
yeah.
somehow not as gimmicky.
But the thing is, like, Magnolia doesn't have like a common theme. I mean, Magnolia is a bit more like people are unhappy. That's it.
By the way,
But the
I
people
just,
people are like happy everywhere. It's about you have like rich people, poor people. In this case, like look, it's suburban LA. And I'm
right.
going to be representing all suburban LA, and I'm going to be representing people that instead of just facing with the problem that they have in front of them, they try to take a shortcut to just get to, I want to feel better with myself.
Yep.
So from that perspective, I feel like the script is that this is not an easy script to write. And especially when it's like 3 hours fucking long. And it's like, it didn't feel like 3 hours. It's like all the stories felt significant.
Can you imagine how much they cut out? Because I'm sure there was like a 5-hour movie, and the studio's like, no, you can have 3 hours and 7 minutes. That's it.
So I think that there is only a single story that we didn't talk about or mention at all. That is the cello player and the jazz singer.
That for me was one of the least impactful stories. It was very sad. I just, there was so much going on that I felt like it wasn't as strong as the other
Yeah.
9 stories that were happening.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the only part that was impactful is when the daughter goes to the jazz club and he tells her, he's like, hey, the kid next door just died. And he's like,
Right.
who? There is like, okay, just confirming that the mother is completely self-involved. There's like, she doesn't care about anything else by herself.
Yeah, I mean, it was brutal. It was brutal to watch that fragile girl just be destroyed by the mother who didn't really love her.
Yeah. Yeah, that she only loves herself. That is
Yep.
like everything is about me. Everything else is an accessory to my life. So that part, I felt like, wow, that scene is good. The rest of it, I agree with you. That I felt like, the cello player is like, it's just an excuse for being there. So there was something that I also, I had to stop the movie and think for a couple of minutes about like, wait, are they doing this? Because I thought at a point, I thought, okay, maybe the connection is not as clear between all the stories. And when they get at the end about the two guys, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Penn, like just harassing these two girls, I was thinking like, wait a second, they're going to be like killing one of them, and they're going to be like throwing it down a river, and that's the river where they're going to find. So I had to stop and start thinking like, okay, what is the timing of all of them? Can there be like like two different areas about like one
Yeah.
of the stories, one set of the stories happens in the future and another one in the present? But no, there
I
was.
also had the same thought. I was like, this is going to be some weird sort of cyclical thing. The woman in the water is going to be one of the characters we're watching right now.
Mhm.
But I think it was actually just foreshadowing, or maybe it
Yeah,
wasn't even that. But there was so much to unpack in this film that those are the thoughts constantly running through my head. How are things connected? What's going on?
yeah. So yeah. So score
8.5.
8.5. Okay.
Yep.
For me, it's a 7.5. I mean, I like it. I think that it's amazing. I
Yeah,
would
yeah.
actually recommend it to everyone. I think there is 3 hours that they just fly by. But I had a feeling that it's like and it's true that it's like I cannot observe it on 1993. I have to just think about like what point are we in, and I'm tired of highly interconnected stories that at the end is like there is no reason for them to be interconnected. I think that Berman, for example, is a better example of just highly interconnected stories because they have the same setting. And this one is a bit more like, well, the setting is LA.
But so I get your point, but didn't Robert Altman basically make this a thing? This is his brand. So
I don't
I get
know.
that it's overdone, but it's also like saying, well, I can't think of a metaphor, but it was important because he did it for the first time.
I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know who started that, but you told me that Nashville, that is from the 70s, that's the same.
Oh yeah, no, this is his bread and butter. This is what he's
Yeah,
good at.
yeah. And I would say that is that this is 93, Pulp Fiction is 94. Pulp Fiction is a
Uh,
significantly better movie than this. I'm not saying that this is not a good movie, but I love Pulp Fiction. I think that the script on that movie is a masterpiece. And this feels like
I feel like we should
vignettes.
watch Pulp Fiction now and compare.
I'm fine. I watched it 2 years ago. It's one of these movies that I can watch once a year. But it's like, I had the feeling that these are vignettes, but they never build up to just be full-fledged stories.
But isn't it like vignettes but elevated?
I think that they are good vignettes. They're like really good vignettes, and it's like the content, the resulting product is elevated. The vignettes per se, each one of them, they are not elevated. If I actually were to extract either of them, I wouldn't feel like this was better than what I thought. If I were to remove, like the interconnection, I said, okay, let's just take Julian Moore's story. I feel like, that was a cool sort.
All right, I get
So
that.
yeah, not saying that I think that this has been like the best movie that we have watched in a while. Because I think that
Tell me something else that you've scored a 7.5.
the last one that I scored 7.5 or higher, it was The Voice in the Band. Because as a gay person, I feel like that was groundbreaking for 1970. But
But I'm
before
so tired
that,
of gay people in film. So
sure, but it's 1970. It's fucking 1970. It's like that was a statement. It's like this is not a statement.
oh,
So
I know.
before that, a 7, I had Sexy Beast, a 7. That was my latest
Uh,
7.
see, I definitely. What did I give Sexy Beast?
Oh no, no, sorry. I gave an 8 to M, but you gave a 7 to M, and the previous time to Sexy Beast a 7.5.
See, that's accurate. I feel like this is a much better movie than Sexy Beast, but I like Sexy Beast.
No, it's fine. I mean, I think that is like this is better than Sexy Beast, sure. But yeah, this is not M or The Servant, for example.
So, what are we watching next?
So, how familiar are you with Sidney Lumet?
Sidney Lumet.
Yeah,
Can I say not at all? Is that an option?
that's completely fine. I mean, he directed 12 Angry Men.
Oh, then I'm familiar
And
with him to the extent of 12 Angry Men.
and Dog Day Afternoon and Serpico, The Verdict. So have you watched
That's the
Network?
skit on the Amy Schumer film, right?
Yeah.
There's a TV show. That's 12 Angry Men,
Sure,
right?
sure. Yeah, that's the only reason for remembering the movie. So did you watch Network?
I definitely did not, and I always confused network with hackers.
Oh my God. So I want to watch this again because I watched it many years ago when I was like, just checking a list of the most influential Hollywood directors, and Sidney Lumet was there. And one of the last movies, well, not one of the last ones, because he was like still active in the 80s, in the early 80s, but it's like people were still talking about this movie, about like one of the best 70s movies that ever happened.
So 1976 network.
Yep,
All right, sounds
that
good.
one. Yep. So I watched it once already, but it's like as I'm curious, Sally, about like the second reading that I had from The Servant. I'm curious to see how I feel about that movie now.
And when was the last time that you saw Network?
12 years ago? No,
Okay.
more than that, 14 years ago. It has been a while. I think that I was The Servant like 10 years ago. This has been longer.
All right. That's a decent enough amount of time to see it with fresh eyes.
Yeah. So he was actually active in Lumet until 2007. That was his last movie. But I think in the
What
70s he was, what?
What was the name of the film in 2007?
Before the Devil Knows Your Death.
Oh, that was such a good movie with Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Oh,
That
you
was
was
an
that?
amazing film. Yeah, when that came out, I was like, holy shit. And actually,
Wow.
Philip Seymour Hoffman plays a heroin addict in it.
Wow, foreshadowing.
So he was just doing method acting.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty dark, but yeah, okay, I get it. Okay, man, that was great. Really good pick. Thanks, man.
Finally.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
am I
that
forgiven
happened.
for the guest?
No, you're not. You're not, because I actually watched yesterday Eurovision. It was the first Will Ferrell movie that I ever watched in my life. And what is his name? The main actor from The Guest,
I don't know, but I like that guy.
Simmons. He's in there, but he actually lost the six pack. It's like in those 6 years that the six pack completely disappeared.
Well, what's the point of watching the movie?
Because it's a Will Ferrell movie. There is no point. It's like your brain is just melted at that point.
I hate Will Ferrell. I hate
Yeah.
Will Ferrell's comedy, not him. He seems like a nice guy.
Yeah, he's like a nice guy, but he has any other movie that is not a comedy, a stupid comedy, doing parody of something else.
I've never even heard of this movie. Was it straight to video?
No, it's straight to Netflix.
Oh, it was a Netflix original. I got it.
Yeah. And I watched
Okay.
it yesterday. I watched it yesterday because I think that I just pop up into, okay, number two in the States. I thought, okay, I will watch it. And besides that, I watched the trailer and I felt like this is going to be stupid. But as someone that grew up with Eurovision, I can understand the jokes. I can understand like the kind of how is this different from all the talent shows that happen in the
So,
States.
what is your score out of 10 as a little bonus?
3. And it's a 2 hour movie. For a comedy, it's like that's way too much.
Well, I won't watch it then.
No,
Thank
don't
you
do it.
for
No,
your
don't
review.
don't do it. Is that you can watch the first 5 minutes and you have like probably the most hilarious first 5 minutes, and then just move with your life.
All right.
All right. So network next time.
Sounds good.
All right. Well, folks, thank you so much for listening.
Wash your hands.
Bye.